Good morning, everyone. Welcome to historic Pimlico. What a beautiful day, and quite the day we have in store for you. Naomi Tucker here, joined as always by our morning line odds maker and top handicapper Keith Fustel. Keith, how are you doing?
Top handicapper some days, I guess. It's been a little
Most
tough
days.
here at Pimlico to get started. But we're trudging along. We've got a very good card in store, though.
Also, just trying to find our bearings once we move to a new track, but it's been playing nicely and evenly. Let's have a look what's coming up today.
Okay.
Spring Stakes Day. We do have 6 stakes races. Federico Tessio, a win and you're in for the 146th running of the Preakness Stakes. And the Weber City Miss is a win and you're in for the Black Eyed Susan. So much to look forward to. We're going to dive in deep later on, but also let's have a look at where you can bet. If you go to First Bet or Express Bet, every bet you make, you gain an entry, a chance to win a $20,000 bet on Preakness 146. Now, if that isn't a reason to go to first.com/bet/promotions, I don't know what is, because that, I wouldn't mind that 20 grand bet myself on the Preakness. A wonderful promotion there. And of course, the Triple Crown is upon us. You can watch it at Laurel Park, Derby Day in exactly 1 week. Go to the Silk simulcast room. Preakness Stakes you can watch from there too, and the Belmont Stakes for only for $15. I know how wonderful it is to watch all the races at Laurel Park, and I know you do too, Keith. We're always there together. But let's look ahead at the track conditions for today. How have you found the track thus far playing in relation to, for example, yesterday?
Well, I still think pretty much. I mean, we saw some horses yesterday. We did have a few instances where horses closed several lengths, right, to win. Still, though, a slight edge. It's got to be given towards the speed. No doubt, you want to be within range turning for home. A slight lean closer to the rail if you can, especially around that final turn in the route races. But you still want to be fairly forwardly placed. It looks like.
And of course, the turf track is
Yeah.
firm. Today marks
Firm.
the return of turf racing here at Pimlico. So exciting. Are you glad it's back, Keith?
Oh, love it, love it. I mean, it makes our job tougher. As the better it opens things up, though, you've got a lot more opportunities for value. I think the turf racing definitely brings those exciting finishes. Horses just finish with a flourish. A lot of blanket finishes that you'll have here over this turf course, albeit whether it's sprints or going long. So turf course looks great. That looks outstanding.
I was just about to say, what a beautiful turf course, and it's looking green, well kept. Can't wait to see all these deep fields line up once again. And as you highlighted, plenty of betting opportunities in those big fields. And oof, those finishes, those blanket finishes, they definitely have me on the edge of my seat as well. Let's get going with the first race on the card. Of course, the start of the early pick 5 sequence, 12% industry low takeout, 50-cent minimum bet. Good sequence to play, and I do feel there's a pretty good value to be found there. We'll get to your early pick 4 ticket in a second, Keith, but that to me highlighted that you chose this sequence over the late pick 4 sequence, thinking that there's just a touch bit more to be found here. But wow, the last 6 races of the day are stakes races. So
yeah, I'll leave that up to you and Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim and I will have it covered. Of course, the first race also marks the start of the Super High 5. Pick the first 5 home in the correct order. We have a carryover, $1,644 every race. With 7 starters or more, you can get involved with the Super High 5. But let's get going here with the first race. Phillies Maidens, 3-year-olds going 5.5 furlongs. And Keith, we'll start with your and my top selection in this spot, which is Great Cause. Filly starting for John Saltzman. I thought this was interesting in terms of jockey bookings. Leonardo Carrera was on her last time out, but he was also on Ronomes, and he decided to go here. And I mean, 8-star maiden can be tricky, but she is the speed at the race.
And that's what it looks like. If you look at the way this track has been playing, it looks like it's going to be her race to lose up on the front end. She carried her speed a little bit further last time. Joyce G came out of that race. That third-place finisher ran okay next time out. So, yeah, I was back and forth, back and forth. You see the jockey move. You're wondering, that kind of got me over the top. Wouldn't surprise me, though, if the 4 got the job done. Ran pretty credibly in debut. This is an angle. Now, granted, Vuklik doesn't run a ton of horses. You go back second out, he's 1 for 5, 3 for 5 over the last few years. But you go back to Bo Vuk. I don't know if that's a horse you're familiar with, but he's kind of a one-run sprinter. Same kind of angle. Didn't run a whole lot in debut, a little belated run, but came back second back off of some time and just whistled by the speed. So maybe that's the setup here for the 4 Ronimus. But the road's going to go through the 6. Great calls.
Although possibly maybe Eggnog might have something to say about a bit of a pace influence as well. She was quite handily placed on her debut.
She was there. She really hasn't kind of brought that speed back. She fits with these. I think she's better sprinting, no doubt, than going longer. I thought she was going to run a little bit better, but it looks like she wants to be that stalk and pounce kind. But Damon got the nightcap last night. Maybe he'll try to open it up with the opener this afternoon. But it looks like those 3.
Yeah, same for me.
Pretty chalky.
Yeah, we'll get going with race number 2, which is also the start of the early pick 4, for which you created a ticket. Tell us how you're planning on playing it today.
Well, it's a cheap ticket. They beat me around here the first couple of days. I've got no money left, so I might have to borrow some money from you. But I've got $10 left in my pocket.
I can spot you a tenner.
Yeah, here's how I'm going to play it. A little $10 early pick 4. Maybe we hit this and carry it over to later in the card. 3-4 to get you started. Ghost Walker, Golden Word, Key Scratch out of race 2 with the 1 through the vine is out. We're going to spread in race 3. My top selection there is the 1, but I'm going to go 1, 2, 4, 7, 8. Singling Prince James, 7-2 line. I probably got this one lined a little too high, but a competitive race. I think he's the now horse, though, right now in this group. I think he's going in the right direction. We'll single him. Then we'll come back with the 8 and 9. Tom Terrific, Bourbon Street in race 5. So there you go, a little $10 ticket. Hope we can get a little value and move on till later in the card.
Race number 2, claim is 16,000 mile and 16 2-turn race. The number 3, Ghost Stalker, is your and my top selection here. New York Invader coming in for George Weaver. I do believe you have a juicy stat for him as well.
Yeah, he's done this move quite some time, right? He's brought his 3-year-olds that maybe don't quite fit the profile of New York, and he'll bring it down here, run up for a tag, and gets it done. Last 3 years, he's 5 for 11, 45%, and 7 for 11 with the 3-year-olds on the dirt. Primarily, those have all been in claiming races here at Pimlico and Laurel. ROI of 601. You're not going to get too much value on Ghost Stalker. Gets back to a fast track. Second route, positional speed can bring a little finish definitely against this group.
And then the number 4, Golden Warrior, you have in second. I was kind of toying with putting him higher in my selections. Ended up a little bit down the pecking order, I guess. He struggled a little against Better last time out, but we do know that Amadi crossed the wire first yesterday. Did end up getting DQ'd into third. But I feel like Golden Warrior is getting back to a more comfortable level for him.
My biggest question was with him. After the encouraging debut win, they ran him back and didn't protect him. They went ahead and ran him for the 25. Connections, Wolf and Ferrier reached in and grabbed this when they stretched him out. Now, I'll give him a little break in that last race. He got off a little awkwardly, and once he got sent up, he just wasn't comfortable. It took him about a quarter of a mile to relax. He made a little run at the winner there around the final turn and just faded through the stretch. Aggressive move here, though, to the 16 to try to get it done. Again, he's going to be forwardly placed against this group. Speed, I guess Boeing Snowman's going to have to go from the outside.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Boeing Snow was definitely going to try and set the pace. Matt came out of that same race as Ghost Stalker, but he took all the heat up front. So I do think he might be in for a better performance today on that fast track as well. Race number 3, 3-year-old fillies claiming 40,000, 6 furlong the distance. Let's go to your top selection here, the number 1, Insightful. I'm assuming that this is a filly that has showed a fair bit of speed before, drawn on the inside. They're going to go for it.
I think they're going to go. They're going to get position. But I went back and watched her race again this morning. She was very comfortable just off a very fast horse in Shakaboom. And now she's going to have another horse to her outside in Sick Pack Sarah that's awfully quick. I think she can relax. She's going in the right direction for Ness. Ness is like 28%, 30% the last 90 days. The barn is catching fire right now, going in the right direction. So a horse that took early money against a horse like Paradise Song. I think she's heading upward. She can stalk and pounce from the inside. Just needs to get position through that first, I'd say, eighth of a mile. I think she can go ahead and stalk and wear down Sigpak Sarah. They may emerge in their own kind of match race from the top of the stretch home. But morning line, I've got her 5. This race was really, really tough for me to line. So I could see her maybe getting hit hard, 3-1, 7-2 range. I don't want to give up much more in a fairly competitive race.
Yeah, no, this race is quite spready for me as well in terms of the exotic bets. I use the number 6 Mid Mazel on top for a red hot trainer in Claudio Gonzalez. She's dropping back from that first level optional claimer where she did very, very decently, just couldn't hold off Hybrid Eclipse there late. Now getting back to a level, she won 2 starts back. Also sharply cutting back in distance, but I do think that in her last 2 heats, she's shown that she's got plenty of speed that might just work here. And I thought it was telling that Claudio put her in here and didn't decide to go longer once more.
Right.
As we'll move on to the 4th race of the day, 2 other than optional claimer, testing distance of a mile and an eighth is what we're going here. The number 6, Prince James, you were just saying he is the now horse. It seems like ever since he joined the Miguel Vera stable here in the Mid-Atlantic, he's absolutely been loving life. 2 seconds and a win. I wonder actually if he might jump up and try and take the lead. It doesn't seem like there's an out-and-out pace presence in this.
Yeah,
race.
I threw the 4 in here as a real wild long shot working on a dream. He did have a little trouble and some traffic stymied along there last time out, even. But they give him a 3/4 working on a dream. As you talked about, not a lot of speed. They may get aggressive. This horse has carried the speed 7/8 of a mile. On this racetrack, maybe he can go a little bit further. So there's your bomb shot to use in the exactas. But Prince James, we talked about, the situation going on at Laurel, the horses stable here. Do they have a little advantage? And maybe this is the key. At a mile and an eighth, this horse has been able to get, regular exercise out on the track. That stamina has stayed with him. Wide trip last time, kept grinding it against a horse that came back and ran very big against the likes of Hanalise, Houdini, Dixie Draw. Why not? I think he just prompts the pace, or maybe goes to the front, just like you said, and is able to kind of dig in late. I think he's got a little edge here against this group. Again, let's hope 5-2. I'll take that. I might come down a little bit off of that number, but Tattoo's going to get plenty of play as well.
Yeah, good old Tattooed. I do wonder if this is his ideal distance, though. Seems
Right.
perhaps a little bit sharper going shorter.
I agree. He's got a little flattening in him at a mile and an eighth. This group might be the right group for him, but tendency, I like him a little bit better at a mile, believe it or not. Yep.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, Hanalei Houdini, I use him on top, but is stretching out to the mile and eighth here. But yeah, Claudio Gonzalez factor once again, and a horse that has certainly posted figures that make him very competitive here and has been running in some very tough allowance races.
Yeah, I expected more out of him last time. He had position and just didn't bring the kick. Claudio, doing okay here to get the meet started, but again, a mile and an eighth. Is that really his true distance? Again, I think he's better 7/8 or a mile.
Yeah, it'll be intriguing to see who comes out on top in this test of stamina.
Yes.
Race number 5, beaten nickel claimers going 5.5 furlong. Both you and I searched towards the outside here using the number 8 Tom Terrific on top for Marius Ray Jr. and Grant Whitaker. Now we've seen a couple of upsets already from them at Laurel and as well here at Pimlico.
Yeah, and Tom Terrific is a horse coming back off a quick break, but I went and looked. He's 5 for 20 is Marius Ray, 5 for 20 off a 7 to 10 day layoff the last couple years. So he does all right. I didn't really see that horse in that race at Charlestown, so I'm going to toss that. Think this horse. Look at the horses he was kind of settling just off of and making runs into. Whiskey and You Valued Notion. Better horses. Aggressive move here on the home track. He's going to have some speed to target in here. The flow is going to be good. I think he can edge by late with Grant. Grant knows this horse. Bourbon Street, a little bit of a tough break last time, was rushed up to the inside. That took a little bit out of this horse, the starch, the last eighth of a mile when this horse was able to shake clear. Perfectly positioned to the outside. I think he gets a more relaxing trip here today.
Yeah, as we'll take a quick break, and when we get back, first of the Turf Stakes races on offer.
And they're off. Second in the two-path. Round off her inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back to Pimlico Racecourse. Naomi Tucker, Keith Fuston. And we're on the first stakes race of the day, as well as our first turf event here. Race number 6 also kicks off the Rainbow Pick 6. We have quite the carryover there. $14,029 in the pot. And I dare say that's going to grow even further with all the on-track and off-track betting going on. Tim Tulloch created a Rainbow Pick 6 ticket for us that I'll quickly run you through here. He uses the 3, the 6, and the 9 in this event, and those are my top 3 selections as well. The 6 Crystal Cliff is my top selection here for Graham Motion. Sheldon Russell, I know that's yours too, Keith. We'll get into that in a second. Race 7, he goes a little bit deeper. He uses the 3, the 5, the 7, and the 9 here in the Frank Wiley strong sprint race on offer once again. He singles in race 8 on the number 7, also my top selection there, which is Eons for Arno Delacour, Sheldon Russell. Deep closer for a stable that just does terrifically well with their turf horses. In race 9, he uses the 5 and the 7 here, which of course Little Sish is trying to get another stakes win on board here in the Mid-Atlantic. And the number 5, Olivia of the Desert, comes in here for Kenny McPeak. Fresh horse, Victor Carrasco rides. First time Lasix as well. You don't want to underestimate her or Kenny with his 3-year-old fillies. As we know, he did win the Preakness last year with Swiss Skydiver. Race number 10, he uses the 4, the 5, the 7, and the 8. And then in the Nightcap, he uses the 5, the 7, and the 8 as well for a total ticket of $57.60. But I do believe that the putting some money into this ticket is going to pay dividends today, because we're gonna have some great value found in these deep fields that are coming up, nonetheless on the turf. So let's get started with our first turf event. Tim. Keith, just think about Tim and his ticket here.
Telling you, got Tim on the brain, I guess. I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, he is joining me later on in the afternoon. So, mile and 16 the distance here. 4 fillies and mares, 3-year-old and upward in the Dahlia Stakes. And we got a couple of replays here. Some really good fillies in this field, actually. Nonetheless, the number 6, Crystal Cliffs, who ran a very game second in that Grade 3 Regret. You can see her there. And wow, she really tried her heart out against a terrific filly in Harvey's Little Goy.
Oh, yeah, was able to settle kind of well within range, 3 or 4 lengths out of it, and is going to work a trip out through the final 8. Really tries to dive to the inside. Game effort. And I tell you, Crystal Cliffs, you talked about Harvey's Little Girl. That's a horse that just missed, right, in the Breeders' Cup Turf, and was a Grade 1 winner at Keeneland. So I just think Crystal Cliffs, Naomi, is run just against a little better company, and I'm not terribly concerned about this break. Graham Motion is one of the best trainers in the country, to get horses to run like this. And smaller sample, though, over the last couple of years for the fillies and mares off a 180-day plus layoff. He's 3 for 5, right, with these runners on the turf with an ROI of 744. A slight edge here. This is a good horse race. A couple really good fillies and mares in here. I'm excited to look at this one, because I think Vigilante's Way has got that jump. She's going to get the jump on Crystal Cliffs. She's going to have to, go out there, get her pace settled in. But I think Crystal Cliffs might be able to wear down that last 16th.
Yeah, Harvey's Little Girl was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf.
Yep.
So terrific filly in her own right. Vigilante's Way, we do have a video of her last efforts at Pimlico, where she was 2nd in the Hilltop against Evil Lynn. This is really interesting, because in her last couple of races, she's been more forwardly placed. Whereas you see here, she's quite far back.
Yeah, and I think I pulled this race just to kind of show her versatility if need be. She was up against it. We know the turf that day, Preakness Day, was a softer kind of turf course. But, man, I tell you, Forrest was able to kind of get up the inside, find some room, work her out. She came with a flourish the last probably 16th of a mile. Really kicked it on here late. Was on that left lead, but then goes ahead and finds more late. Is she going to be that far back today? I don't think so. Given a good break, she's going to put herself in position, if not right on the lead. So she's going to be a pace factor throughout.
It's also wonderful to have Jockey Forrest Boyce back from injury. Got a win in her second ride since coming back yesterday. So congratulations to her, and good luck with Vigilante's Way. I used the number 3, Xantique, in my exacta here. I did get the chance to catch up with Thomas Morley. We'll show that in the afternoon. But this is an incredibly flexible mare that can go long or short. She won short at Saratoga, won long at Belmont, and she's just doing terrifically. And that's their reasoning for bringing her down here. here to try and steal this race here. Fergal Lynch rider, I think she's coming in here and hopefully be able to return to form once again. I do know Thomas Morley's on his way for his 2 runners, so I wish them all the best of luck. Race number 7, 6 furlong the distance here in the Frank Whiteley. What a great sprint racer we're going to have on offer again here. Let's talk about the number 8. We do have a video replay for Arthur's Hope in his last race here. That was going a mile though, but this is a veteran runner that keeps turning up.
Yeah, he got the little build up here, and went out fairly decent early fractions, picked it up around the turn, but once he gets hooked, man, does he dig in ever so gamely through the final, quarter of a mile in his own little match race here with Dixie Draw. I thought this was a stellar effort for him. Going back to a sprint, which I think is his best distance, there is some speed, and he's the type of horse, he's going to be a price. You're going to get 10, 12, 15 to 1 on him. If he can clear, I mean, he's shown on occasion to be able to do it against this type of field. The way the track's playing, he is able to drop inside. Yeah, he stays around a ways. I like the build-up off of that mile race over there at Laurel.
Now let's talk about good old Lakai, 8-year-old runner for Damon Delodo Vico. Gave him his first ever graded stakes victory in the De Francis Dash at Pimlico last year. Then ran a very game second to Where She Told Me to Go in the Frank Whiteley. I mean, this is a terrific race. Do you think he's got it in him to turn the tables on Where She Told Me to Go?
I certainly do. I think the break is going to do him a little bit of good. You see the numbers. They've tailed off. They're still good, but they're not what he once was. But this is a horse that was capable off a break to run, cracked 101 buyer going back at Monmouth. It was at 5/8 of a mile, but I think this little freshening is what he needed. He's a type of horse that can come from a little bit further back if he wants, but I kind of want to see him right there stalking and pouncing at the quarter pole. I don't want him trying to make up 3 or 4 lengths from there. Let's get him into the race. I think he's going to be fresh and ready, forwardly placed here today. Expect a big effort from Lakai.
Yeah, let's talk quickly about the number 5, Where She Told Me to Go. This horse has rattled off 3 consecutive stakes wins in a row, full of himself when he gets to the paddock. Beautiful looking individual, and Brittany Russell will be very much looking forward to seeing him return to action once again.
Yeah, and he's the deserved favorite, I think. Look at the streak. Yeah, everybody's going to kind of look at him, and me too. I look at that 83, that drop off in buyer figures last time, lugging in on the left lead a little bit, but given that race off a little bit of a break, he's probably tuned up and ready to improve off of that. I'm sure he's going to bounce back up into the 90s. His best will win this race, no doubt about it. Even close to his best is going to put him in the mix. He's tough to leave out.
Yeah, I use Eastern Bay as a bit of a price play on top. Also a horse that has been freshened up and nearly was able to overturn Lakai in the De Francis Dash. Only got beaten by a nose there. I do think that coming back off a live, perhaps with the speed set up, I think there's a few that want to move forward in this. He might just come and run them down late. You never know. 6 to 1. I included him for that reason. As we'll move on to the 8th race of the day, the Henry Clark Stakes, mile and 16 is the distance here, and the number 4 Pixelate you have on top. I use him in second here. We have a video of 2 starts back where he was at Gulfstream Park in the Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational, so quite the race.
Yeah, 12 horse field. He's kind of 2 and 3 wide, caught in between horses when trying to sustain a run from the 3/8 pole, and this is just a stellar group of turf horses, and he's going to get relief off of this. It's just kind of like Eons as well. They pick up the right kind of spot here. He's giving effort. He shifts out about 4 or 5 wide. Just can't match strides with these closers, but Stidham's got him in the right spot here. Look at his post positions, 10 post, 10 post. He drafts back to the inside. Papal Law from the inside, I think, is going to go ahead and run away and try to hide. We'll go ahead and set the pace. Dreams of Tomorrow. The blinkers come off for Shug. This is a little bit of a reach, but interesting that they hold this horse into this spot, thinking they really like this guy, Dreams of Tomorrow. I think he makes first run, but then you're going to have to look in the rearview mirror. Pixelate, a horse like Eons. Eons hasn't won in quite some time. That's why I give a slight edge to Pixelate. And Corelli, 3 very, very good turf horses, but I think today's the day for Pixelate.
Yeah, I think there's a very, very deep heat here in the Henry Clark Stakes, and I had to include the horse on the rail in Corelli as well. New York Invader Jonathan Thomas has had some success here. Indeed, possibly your horse being the form horse in here. As we'll move on to the 9th race of the day, I mean, this is just a day that keeps getting better and better. This is the Weber City Miss, mile and 16, a prep here for the Black-Eyed Susan, of course, a win in your in for the 3-year-old fillies. Do have a very significant scratch in here of the number 2, Fraudulent Charge, who unfortunately will not be lining up. It would have been wonderful to see her here, but hopefully we'll see her back soon enough. Again, I landed on the number 7, Little Stitches, on the outside, and so did you. We have a video of her last effort here in the Mid-Atlantic, winning the Beyond the Wire. Do you think she got the perfect setup, though? Because you see there in front, Fraudulent Charge, 2-year-old champion Street Loot, they were ding-dong battling. They went hard up front, whereas Little Stitches was cruising in behind and came and gunned them down. But she's tiny and tough.
There's no doubt that she benefited. I mean, those two went at it, and they hooked up a big move around the turn, got in their own little battle up front. And Little Stitches, hey, the key with Sheldon, he kept her out of trouble, let her level off, and she just kept grinding and grinding and grinding. She's got this experience now. She's been 2 turns. Outside post, shorter field doesn't really bother me too much here this afternoon. I think she can go ahead and get position out of speed. I think Moonsafes is going to be sent away from the inside here for Trumbetta. Who's the other speed? Probably Exogen, I would think, off the sprint. That upset victory, or I should upset second, that doesn't make sense, but a close second in New York. So, yeah, I think the flow is going to be all right. I worry about this 5, though. Olivia de Desert, she looks like she's coming to a spot that just might get her over the top and back to the winner's circle. She's a 3-time winner, goes synthetic to dirt, Lasix goes on. A lot of angles to like about this 5 horse for Kenny McPeak.
Yeah, I was very wary of her as well, thinking that, Lasix go on, Kenny McPeak bringing her down here. It's got races on her form down that work. I mean, that win in the Trapeze Stakes. This is a filly that might just be coming back into form again here, as you mentioned, off that all-weather race last time out. And then the number 4, Hybrid Eclipse, Linda Rice. Now, Linda Rice is very sharp when she brings horses down to the Mid-Atlantic. I looked at her Pimlico stats, so very interesting. She has 20% winners, which doesn't seem as high as some of the other shipping trainers. 75% in the money.
Wow.
So she brings them here. She places them well. She brings them fresh. Perhaps sometimes a bit of luck, racing luck needed as well. But this is a filly that comfortably overturned that first level optional claimers field last time out at Laurel Park.
Yeah, she did, and she's 2 for 2 with Lasix. She's handled this stretch out to 2 turns, and what I liked is Caramano's put her to a drive last time out about the 5/8 pole, and she didn't really wilt. She just kept sustaining and collared the leader, past the 8th pole and went on very eagerly through the line. I'd like to see a little bit more work into her since then. That's maybe my little bit of concern, but she's definitely improved, proven to handle the distance. Yeah, I think she's a definite player in here. I know Dave Robin likes her. Going back to Olivia Desert real quick, you're talking about those company lines even too. That race at Oaklawn in the Honeybee. Pauline's Pearl came back to run close to a 90. I think she ran an 89 buyer in the fantasy. And the last place finisher came back to run a good number. So, yeah, good little horse race. Smaller field, quality field here for the Weber City Miss.
Absolutely. Certainly a race to look forward to as we move on to our feature race of the day, the Federico Tessio. Of course, a key prep for the Preakness Stakes, winning your in race as well. Mile and 1/8 the distance. I was on the fence with this one. There's a couple of horses I feel can really, really jump up and get the spoils here in this race. But let's go to our video spotlight first, which is the number 8, May the Horse Be With You, as well as Shackled Love. Both of them ding-donging all the way around. They went to the lead together and then battled it out to the wire with Shackled Love just edging out on top.
Yeah, and you're a horse owner. One thing you want, you love horses with speed. I do, and I love horses with stamina. Both of these horses have it. They can get position. They can go along and at a pretty good cruising speed and still bring finish. It puts those closers at a disadvantage if they get any break through the opening, maybe quarter, 3/8 of a mile. And that's what these two kind of did last time out. A really, really good battle through the stretch. They're going to bring it back again this afternoon. They're going to have to deal with another speed influence, though, to their inside in Hello Hot Rod.
Yeah, Hello Hot Rod. Of course, very excited to see the Jimmy Wingfield Stakes winner back again in the Mid-Atlantic. Of course, half brother to our champion 3-year-old Hello Beautiful, trained by Brittany Russell, but now in a different barn here. Sean Davis. Quite a sharp work coming into this, but I must say, though, I remember us talking about this before. The Thoroughbred Training Center sometimes throws up these really sharp works that don't always necessarily translate back on track.
Yep. It certainly looks like a very quick surface. We've seen that time and time again, especially over the last few months. We've seen horses go into Laurel coming off of that track working extremely fast. Doesn't always necessarily mean a big effort. But hello, Hot Rod. Hey, good luck to the new connections. Great score for the prior connections as well, right? A $10,000 purchase. They turned it around, win some races, and sell what for 300,000 maybe? So
Yeah, I think it was
great
300
move.
plus. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That was a phenomenal sale there.
Mhm.
Let's talk about your top
Yep.
selection. Royal Number. Blinkers go on. This is a horse that, of course, ran in the Grade 3 Witters.
Uh-huh.
Perhaps a little bit disappointed in the private terms. Excuse me. I
Yeah.
thought he was going to do better. So perhaps that's the reasoning for putting the blinkers on, trying to get him back to winning ways.
Yeah, I think he can get the distance. I mean, the way he finished up in that mile and 16th race, 3 races back in that allowance at Laurel, you see the common handle it. We don't give that comment out a lot. Visually, very, very strong. Maybe a little bit of a reach. Did take some play in New York, but I was really disappointed with that last try. I liked the horse that day. Got position, was in dead range at the quarter pole, Naomi, and just couldn't follow through. We're going to get the blinkers on today. Maybe this will key that one up a little bit, a little sharper, bring some focus. I think he's got finish. He can bounce back to that lower 80 number. I think it puts him right in the mix, and he's going to offer, I think, decent value in here. I can see 5-6 to 1 on him.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful price you're probably going to get. Let's talk quickly about the number 4, the Reds, who I used on top. I'm thinking John Kimmel coming in with a horse that wasn't as happy at Aqueduct, but we've seen a couple of horses coming in here from New York and doing incredibly well on this surface, making me think that possibly it could be a little bit of relief for the Reds.
Well, this is a place in this area. Kimmel does not run a lot in Maryland. I mean, I think he's only got one starter in the last few years, Pacific Gale, right? So I think he's confident, obviously. This is a barn you've got to respect. They've done very good work year in and year out. Keys up against the right kind of horses. I know I don't have them in the mix, but I can tell you one thing. The key is going to be the 3 here for me in my exacta boxes. So the 4 will get used at least once or twice in there with them.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful feature to look forward to as we'll quickly finish things off here with the Nightcap, the King Leatherbury Stakes. 5 furlongs the distance, and on the turf we are once again. Now, significant scratch here as well of Karatari. I do believe Brian Lynch is pointing him to yet another race. I do think it's at Churchill Downs, and hence not lining up here. Winner of the Silks Run Stakes down at Gulfstream Park. You and I both look towards the outside. You use the number 7 Francatelli on top, a very sharp runner for Cahill Lynch, who seems to be just as good on the dirt sprinting as on the turf.
Yeah, gets himself a little bit of a break. Hasn't been seen since late November. I'm going to give him a pass. October the 1st, the last time he was on the turf, it was here at Pimlico on a yielding surface, and he just couldn't quite go. And he looked like he had run every step of the way to kind of separate. The ground just got the best of him, I think, that afternoon. So, yeah. Scratch territory. I think he was going to be pushing that issue, and he's going to have to deal with some speed presences here, Francatelli. I think fair catch from the inside, and you've got a horse trying the turf for the first time, grab the gold that could bring a little pace presence. But I think he's going to be cranked up and ready on this firmer ground. What's the old saying? Let the feet rattle. They're going to keep on going here for Francatelli.
Yeah, absolutely. A completed pass. I end up giving him just a slight nudge over Francatelli. Also a horse coming off a layoff. I do believe that there's a few horses that have been waiting for the turf to return it. But if you look at his 2 starts back at Pimlico, now that was on yielding ground, but he was capable of making up ground, coming from behind to only just finish being second by a neck. Now I think that's key there. They did go fast, I have to give him that, but being able to still use your turn of foot on yielding ground is quite the feat.
Yeah, and his tendency, we know, is sometimes to get away slowly. He got in a really bad habit. He kind of got out of it. But, man, if he breaks good, he'll be eyeing Francatelli when they turn for home, no doubt about it. He's a horse that has positional speed with a good break. He can bring a finish. He is a good turf sprinter.
And as we finish up our race analysis, let's quickly go to lightning round. I know it's your favorite part of the show, Keith. We do have a couple of topics coming up. Now, first things first, 3 weeks to Preakness 146. And you can see her there, the heroine of last year, Swiss Skydiver. I mean, the countdown has truly begun.
It has, no doubt about it. I hope we can get a race just as good as the one that we got back in October, no doubt about it. I haven't even, speaking about the Derby coming, I haven't really kind of got into the PPs yet for the Derby, so I got to get moving.
Oh, Big field, Keith. Big
Yes.
field. Yeah, get yourself going. I mean, essential quality 2-year-old champion for Babcock is most likely going to be the favorite. Yeah, let's talk about the Kentucky Derby. I was looking up some stats when it comes to Maryland breds.
Okay.
Cowie King is the only Maryland bred to have ever won the Kentucky Derby. That was in 1966. I do believe there was also a second place finisher in 1967 with Barb's Delight. There's been 21 runners bred in Maryland that have tried to gun for the Roses. So that was just a fun stat for everyone to walk away with here. Let's move on to the Tessio. I know we just discussed it, but it's a rematch of the private term stakes here, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we're going to see if those two can emerge again in a stretch battle. We'll see if the tables will be turned. Again, maybe the horse be with you. Get the best of Shackle Love. They're going to have to work for it. This is a good horse race. They draw outside with some speed to the inside. So, well, we talked about it earlier. Speed, stamina, gameness. You know, Gary Cap, very familiar with this time of year. So, yeah. Definitely looking forward to that race here, the rematch between those two. And going back to Kauai King, yeah, he was, I think, foaled right over there at Sagamore Farm, about 10 minutes from me in beautiful Glendon, Maryland.
Yeah, wonderful feather in
Yep.
the cap for everyone involved with that horse. Let's move on to the final point of Lightning Round. 2019 Maryland Million Sprint winner Taco Supreme has been retired. 8 wins from 28 starts and over 406,000 US dollars in earning for trainer Damon DeLodovico.
How about it? Look at this run. This was I guess the pinnacle, right? The Maryland Million Sprint running down Call Paul. What a run through the final 3/16 of a mile. Damon and company claim this horse, I think, for 25. Big Bertha stable. Good guys in the game, and the horse did well with the Frocks too early on. So yeah, Taco Supreme, just a really cool horse. That was a great effort there, and you know, his old buddy Lakai running today.
I know,
Yep.
and I heard Taco Supreme is going to a wonderful home arranged
Cool.
for by trainer Damon DeLodovico. So that's
Awesome.
always wonderful to hear. As this will wrap up the morning show for us, Keith, I'll be back later on in the afternoon with Tim Tulloch, and of course Dave Rodman will be coming up with scratches and changes.
Alrighty, good luck, everybody.